Here are 10 common issues in Procreate and how to fix them. Have you ever noticed a weird looking edge around any of your shapes when filling them? Or have you had your color spill all over? Then you'll want to adjust your color drop threshold. To do that, just drag in the color and then hold your pen in place and slide to the left or right to adjust the threshold. Have you ever had it happen that when you turned off the drawing guide, and when you tried drawing, your lines would continue following the grid? Then perhaps you still have assisted drawing turned on your layer. You just need to tap it, turn off that drawing assist, and then you can make all sorts of lines again. When you try to resize anything on your layer, do you ever notice that your image becomes pixelated? You can fix that by using a different interpolation setting. If you go to the Move and Transform tool, then here at the bottom you'll find this little icon, and it's the interpolation setting. Nearest neighbor is the most simple one. It's perfect for pixel art. Bilinear is more sophisticated, giving a smoother look, and bicubic is the best one, but since it might take a bit more time. But if you set it to bicubic and then resize, you'll notice that it is less pixelated. You'll get a smoother outcome. If your brush size is not matching the one that I'm using in a tutorial, then make sure to go to your wrench and then to Prefs and check if dynamic brush scaling is turned on. If it's turned off and you make a stroke like this and then you zoom out, it'll get bigger, or when you zoom in, it'll get smaller. So your brush size will vary depending on how far you are zoomed in. And if you turn dynamic brush scaling on, then you won't have that issue. It doesn't matter how far you are zoomed in or zoomed out, the brush size will stay the same. If you have been trying to use Gaussian blur set to pencil over here, then you might have encountered this issue that you start blurring, but everything just turns into a muddy color. You want to blur this part of the landscape, but you're just seeing this gray. And you might think that your Gaussian blur pencil is broken, but this is not the case. What you need to do is use your finger on the screen and just slide to the left to turn down the strength of the blur. Now, I also have a little bonus tip for you. If your issue is that you want to improve your drawing and painting skills, then the fix is my Patreon page. I have more than 200 Procreate drawing and painting tutorials there, so go check that out. The next issue is with alpha lock. Perhaps you have a shape and you want to put a pattern or a texture on it without going outside of the shape, so you have turned on alpha lock on your layer. But when you start drawing, you notice that it's going outside of your shape. Now, the issue could be that you have your background and your shape on one layer. Alpha lock won't work that way. What you need is your shape on a separate layer than the background. Then when you turn on alpha lock on your layer and you start adding a pattern, it'll only show up on your shape. Sometimes it can happen that you're happily working on your drawing or painting and you want to make a new layer, but Procreate will tell you that you have reached the maximum amount of layers. The amount of layers you can create depends on your device. Now, to fix this, you can either merge layers that you already have. If you're happy with your layers and you don't want to change anything about them, you can merge them. Or if you don't want that, then you can make your canvas a little bit smaller to allow for more layers. You can do that by going to the wrench, then to canvas, then to crop and resize, then go to settings, turn on resample canvas, and then when you set it to a new size, like 4000 in this case, it'll tell how many layers you'll have available. And then you can tap done. And then in your layer menu, you can start making new layers. If you have a brush that is behaving weirdly, then you might have turned up the stabilization way too high. If you go to your brush, tap it, and then go to stabilization, if you turn that down, then you can see that your brush won't behave weirdly anymore. Now, if there are other issues with your brush, then what you can also do is just go to your brush menu, then to About this brush, and then tap Reset All Settings. Now your brush is reset to the default settings. Sometimes when you are using the smudge tool, it might happen that you can't really smudge or blend colors properly. That's because you can only smudge colors that are on the same layer. So to fix this issue, what you just need to do is put everything you want to blend on one layer, and then when you use the smudge tool, the colors will nicely blend. If you're working on a layer mask and it's not working properly, perhaps it's a little bit transparent like this, then there are two things you need to check. First of all, check if the opacity of your brush is set to 100%. Otherwise, you'll get a transparent look. And also check if you are using 100% black. If you are using something that is a bit grayish, then you won't get that same effect. Now, these were 10 common issues in Procreate and how to fix them. Now, if you are experiencing any other issues, then please let me know in the comments and perhaps I'll be able to help. For now, I'd like to thank you for watching and I'll see you next time for the next tutorial.